So hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Friday evening football talk. And yeah, I'm joined by Kev from Big Toon chat. Links in the description down below anyways. So yeah, make sure to go check him out. Great guy and a great channel going on there. So but hi Kev, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay actually. Went out for lunch earlier on today, had a couple of drinks and stuff. So yeah, I'm all right. I'm doing well. Come back because it's cloudy and cold, so I thought, what better way to jump on a YouTube video on a Friday night? So yeah, I'm
Of
good.
course. Thank you for joining. But yeah, we'll start off with the Champions League matches, which has occurred. Second legs of the god awful Champions Leagues, which we have going on, taking place by UEFA. But we'll start off with PSG 0, Bayern Munich 1. Not enough for the holders to go through, but I have a feeling this that Kev is not very happy with that score.
I think probably less said about that the better, to be honest with you, because we'll be here all night if I get going. Yeah, I mean, people will say that the better team won. I don't agree with that at all. I think they just sat back and defended for all they're worth. Tried to hit them on the counter attack all the time. They had a few good chances which they didn't put away. They failed to execute. So I think Bayern were the worthy winners on the night, and I think over the two legs, given there was a few players, not just for Bayern Munich but for both teams, I think it would have been a different game altogether. I thought it would have been a lot more goals in it compared to what there was. So yeah, I think if this game was in 4 weeks' time, I think Bayern Munich would go through, given that they've got their best players back. I'm not saying that Bayern Munich didn't play well on the night, because they really did. I think Choupo-Moting is a really, really good backup striker. He's strong in the air. He's good in the air and he's strong as well. So when his hold-up play is really good as well. But I just think that obviously the Man City Dortmund as well. I think PSG's got a tough game against Man City coming up in the next round. But I do hate Neymar and Mbappe. But that's all I'm saying about that.
Shout out to my man Owen there, great guy. But yeah, disappointing, but certainly just a setback, I'd say. I mean, it's great how they moved on from Nico Kovac and now they're performing so well under Hansi Flick. Even though they did go out, I think it was just a matter of PSG I wouldn't say being lucky. I think they were efficient on the counter attack in Munich and just did well. Just did well to get Mbappe and Neymar playing.
Yeah, I think they rely on them two very, very, very heavily. It proved that in the second leg as well, because Neymar, every time he got touched, he rolled around on the floor for a bit, drew loads of fouls, and Mbappe was just running from every position he could try and get himself into, and 99% of the time he was offside, and then he tried to claim that he wasn't, but he was. So he doesn't time his runs very well. But yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm not gonna bark on about that because it's in the past now.
Yeah, second quarterfinal, which happened was obviously Chelsea against Porto. Chelsea scraping the barrel and getting through on the night. Even though they did lose to wonder goal from Porto. Bicycle kick in the 93rd minute from Taremi gave Porto the lead, but not enough to turn around the 2-0 deficit at Porto. So yeah, I think Chelsea did enough. I think they were controlled, but I think they would have been really disappointed with the fact that they couldn't get a clean sheet or just win the game.
Yeah, I think they've got it tough in the next round. They've got Real Madrid next, so that's going to be a tough. That's going to be their big challenge of the season. That's probably the biggest game of the season for them so far. But yeah, I think Porto left it late. 93rd minute. It's 93 minutes too late into the game. I mean, you should have been looking for the goal within the first half an hour to try and bring more to the game from a Porto point of view. But yeah, I think Chelsea were the winners over them 2 legs. I think they were a better team. But again, Real Madrid's the next game, so that'll be their biggest game of the season so far, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think they need to wait. They need to go through there because otherwise it's going to be, I'd say, a failure again. But just before we move on, we've got Luke, who is a Nottingham Forest fan, and and a really good YouTuber. And yeah, Luke, do you want to talk about your football channel for a bit?
Sure. Yeah, I have a channel called Turton Talks Football, where last week I did about 24 videos reviewing various number of games ranging from Premier League down to League 2. And yeah, I'm just basically doing as much content as possible, really.
Yeah, and I was on one of those videos of reviewing Bristol City vs Nottingham Forest. But we will move on quickly. But yeah, we were just talking about the Champions League really quickly. We'll talk about Liverpool, Real Madrid next. Disappointing for Liverpool, but obviously Real Madrid just did too much in the first leg, and I think the damage was well and truly done then.
I mean, I can hardly comment because I was watching Dortmund City. I wasn't both big on at the same time. I struggle to keep up with both of them and actually have an educated opinion. So,
but yeah, that's okay. We'll talk about Manchester City Dortmund then. I didn't actually watch the game. How did the game go? How was it in general? Did Man City deserve to go through? Were Dortmund unlucky?
for all of Dortmund's running around, pressing, and Bellingham's goal, City just had too much. I mean, they had Sterling to come off the bench for a starter. So I always find that you've got 3 or 4 kind of sides that you know are going to have top players and the squad depth to take one player off, pull another on, and it not make much of a difference. And also, when you've got a player like Phil Foden, then to be honest, I struggled to see how Dortmund was actually going to go through. And once Emre Can headed it onto his arm and he got a penalty, then I just think, those are the sort of things that,
Yeah,
they win you the games.
yeah. Yeah, I very much agree there. Because there's not been much Premier League football in the last week or so, we'll talk a bit about relegation battle in the Premier League at the moment. Obviously,
Do we have to?
but obviously, I think Sheffield United will be done by this weekend, so we don't need to talk about them. I went on to Paul the Toon review stream, and I genuinely said that West Brom could be a real threat to Newcastle and Burnley if they're not careful of and wary of West Brom. Do you think West Brom have the edge here, Kev, or on Fulham, or do you think that Fulham is still the main threat?
I think Fulham and West Brom will have their own little personal battle between them two. I can't see them catching 17th now, no matter who it is, whether it's Newcastle, Burnley, Brighton, whoever it might be. But yeah, I mean, West Brom have had a couple of good results recently. They beat Southampton and they beat Chelsea with 10 men. So a couple of lucky results. I mean, nobody expected them to beat Chelsea, and nobody certainly expected them to beat Southampton either. But Southampton are on a bit of a rut at the minute. But Fulham, I think they've just lost the momentum now. They've lost the last 4 and the next 2 games is Arsenal and Chelsea. So hopefully Arsenal will do us a favour by beating Fulham, and then we can maybe steal a point or 3 off West Ham as well. So, and I think that'll be good enough, because then West Brom will need Fulham will need at least 2 wins and a draw, even just to get next to us. So I think it's all done and dusted. But again, there's still 7 games of the season left, so we'll wait and see what happens. But fingers crossed, I think Newcastle are already safe.
Yeah, what do you think, Luke? How do you see this relegation battle panning out?
Well, I always like to say it's football and it likes to throw up surprises. So I wouldn't say that any of the sides from kind of 16th to West Brom. I think it's a 4-way battle at the minute, and it's whoever. I mean, obviously the 2 above the drop have the edge for the points, but again, as Kev will know, Newcastle are unpredictable. They can win one game, and the next game they can go and have a banana skin game. So I wouldn't count your chickens just yet for 3 points against West Ham.
I'd like to. I mean, West Ham have only won twice in 20 years at St James's Park. That's basically what we're going off. They haven't got the best record, and Newcastle and Burnley and Brighton have also got a game in hand on Fulham. Newcastle's game in hand is, unfortunately, it's Liverpool, so we're probably not expecting anything from them. But I mean, West Ham aren't great. Well, they're a good team at home, but they're not very good away, especially at St James's. So I think we can go there we can play with confidence and play some attacking football, because we'll have our 2 best players back. So hopefully we can put up some sort of performance like the 5-minute spell that we had against Burnley, and basically put West Ham to bed 2-3-0, I think, personally.
Yeah. Also, do you see maybe one of Brighton or Burnley or even Southampton at a stretch getting dragged back into it? Luke, sorry.
I mean, I always think that Sean Dyche has that mentality to get results. So, again, Brighton are one of those kind of up and down sides, but I just think Graham Potter will. I think the bottom 3 will be the 3 that ends up going down if I had to make a very bold prediction. But you never really know. I think Southampton are too far off now to get dragged into it.
Yeah, I think with Southampton, I think it was the start. I think it was the start of the season when they were top of the league. I think that will keep them up eventually. But with Burnley, you talk about the mentality. Kev, recently they've lost after going ahead, like against Newcastle, being 1-0 ahead, lose 2-1, and very uncharacteristically at Southampton, 2-0 up, half time, and they just crumble and fall to defeat 3-2. Do you think that mentality is no longer there, or is it still there, and that Dyche will keep them up?
I think Dyche will keep them up. I really like Sean Dyche. I like the way that he has his team set up, and you could tell that the first half against Newcastle, because they played really well. Newcastle couldn't even get out of their own half. It was absolutely diabolical from a Newcastle fan point of view. But yeah, I mean, Sean Dyche has got it in him to keep Burnley safe. I think they're one of the teams that are always there or thereabouts, scrapping around the relegation zone. So yeah, I think Burnley are absolutely fine. And I've just been thinking that Southampton's next game is against Tottenham. So if Tottenham beat Southampton, Burnley, Brighton and Newcastle all win, and Fulham manage to somehow beat Arsenal, that drags Southampton right into the mix then, because Burnley, Brighton and Southampton all have the same points. Newcastle will be 1 behind, and then Fulham will start creeping closer as well. So I pray that doesn't happen. I want Burnley, Brighton to lose the next game. I want Fulham to lose the next game, and I want Newcastle to beat West Ham. That's basically my ideal scenario, but we'll just wait and see what happens. But yeah, I mean, hoping and praying that we've got Premier League football next season with a new takeover by the looks of it as well. But I'm not going to go into that.
But yeah, Luke, talking about Southampton, we I just looked at that running. The only real threat, the only real easy team or team really in the relegation battle with them is Fulham. They've got Fulham at home, and that's the only real game where they could capitalise and get on it. But apart from that, they've only really got Crystal Palace, West Ham at a stretch. But that's a very tough run in there for Southampton.
Yeah, but no game's easy. So if you can say that they're playing the relegation sides, but again, those sides could be more difficult than coming up against one of the kind of top sides because they're really fighting to try and save themselves. And, it only takes one of the bigger sides to put the foot off the gas for a game and a side wins. So, again, I don't think that any of the bottom three will become safe now, personally.
Yeah, I really can't see Fulham catching either Newcastle or Burnley just purely because of the fact that they've lost their momentum now. Now West Brom as well. I could see them catching Newcastle, but it's very unlikely just because of the start they had. Yeah, but
I'm starting to dislike you,
I've got that. I want the ex-championship clubs to succeed. I mean, you might call me biased.
You've got to think. A few years ago, Newcastle was a championship club as well.
Yeah, but Fulham and West Brom are more recent, so I'll just.
Your club.
Not West Brom. Not West Brom. Call Fulham whatever the hell you want. Not West Brom. But yeah. We'll talk about Newcastle for a bit, then we'll move on to Nottingham Forest. Then to round out, we'll talk about Bristol City. Newcastle, staying up, Kev, or going down?
I'm going to say what every Newcastle fan wants, and I think we're going to stay up.
Love the positivity, but we need realism on this channel. Realistic.
Yeah, I am. I'm being real. I'm not beating around the bush. I'm not being hesitant. I am being real. We are going to stay up. We are going to get something from West Ham tomorrow. We're going to prove all the doubters wrong, all the haters, you as well. We're going to prove you all wrong. We're going to get some sort of performance against West Ham. We're going to grab some points and run with them on a Saturday afternoon at St James's, and then maybe climb a bit higher in the league, and then Burnley and Brighton will crumble, hopefully. So yeah, we'll wait and see. But yeah, we're definitely going to stay up.
If it goes wrong, remember this bit so you can clip it.
Yeah, this I'm definitely clipping this, but yeah. Luke, do you think Newcastle would or are likely to stay up, or do you think they are still very much in the relegation battle and it's very much 50-50?
I think they'll stay up, but again, I'll say what I've been saying since I've come on the show. Football is very unpredictable, and it wouldn't honestly surprise me if a side did drop. But again, I just think that the bottom three have been consistently poor all season, so they probably do deserve to go down. So I think they'll stay up is a kind of shorter response.
But yeah, I'm probably going to stay. I'm probably going to say they're going to stay up as well. As much as that pains me to say, Kev.
You know why you're saying that? Because you're on all these other Newcastle fan channels and you don't want all the grief. That's why you're saying that.
Everyone loves me, Kev. I don't know what you're talking about. Everybody loves me. John told me that everybody on his channel loves me, and I'm the poster boy for the channel.
Is that John Jolan?
Yes, of course. Yeah, that's Steve Bruce. Obviously, not very liked at most championship clubs, and not very liked at Newcastle, I think. or let's say I hear from Newcastle fans, because apparently he's not been performing well recently. Kev, what's going on with Steve Bruce?
He needs sacked. Simple as that. He's not performed very well. I mean, he's performed absolutely dreadfully. He's a very, very bad man manager. He doesn't play players in the right positions. I mean, how he got this job is beyond me, because he's never had a job as big as this in his career, apart from playing at Old Trafford. But yeah, he needs sacked. We need rid of him. If we want someone to take the club forward, it is not going to be Steve Bruce. And then he was waffling on today in his daft little press conference that he does, saying that he's looking forward to taking on the role further next season. Now, if he takes on this role further next season, I am not going to be watching Newcastle Football Club next season, because I want him gone. Everybody does. I hate the man. I don't really know what he brings to the club. He doesn't bring anything to the club apart from loads of rubbish. So yeah, I want him sacked. I want him gone.
Yeah, I think many Newcastle fans want him sacked as well. I mean, he's not very liked, and I think what really annoys Newcastle fans is he constantly takes a dig at the fans as well, which is really not not good enough.
It's not just that, Annie. He doesn't get asked the questions that all the fans want answered. So he bans all the journalists from the press conferences and things like that. So we can never get answers to the questions that we want to be asked. So we're left in limbo. We don't get any contact from the club at all. It's just beyond a joke. And I know Steven's just put a comment in there, Steve Bruce out. Now, you might not know this, Annie, right? But Steven's got a little soft spot for Steve Bruce, right?
Oh,
He's in denial.
Oh, yes, I do. Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Steven, he does. He's a nice guy, Steven, but like when he puts things like Steve Bruce out, that's what we all want. We do.
Just Steven just trying to blend in with all the other fans, but he knows he's a secret agent for Steve Bruce, but yeah. Luke, do you think that if Steve Bruce does leave, he'll get another championship job, or do you think that's it for him, and he's not gonna get another job?
I mean, I'll spin it round to you. Which club would take him? I mean, looking at the clubs there and the managers that are at the clubs already, who would realistically be looking to change manager and to Steve Bruce?
I mean, we could be in for a manager in the summer if Nigel Pearson doesn't stay.
No, I doubt that very much. I can see Pearson getting it full time.
Yeah, I mean, but we could be in for a manager if Pearson doesn't stay.
But not Bruce.
Hopefully not. But
I mean, we'll probably pay for him to leave, so you can take him on a free.
We will. I'll take Bruce if you give us Sam Maximan.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yes, that.
You need, one day, you never know, you might be in with the big boys in the Premier League, but not yet. You just hover around the 14th place, yeah?
Yeah, very. Yeah, it's definitely not depressing at all. But if he does leave, I could see maybe a League One team snatching him up. Because I think he'll do a very good job there. But Preston don't have a manager at the moment. Bristol City might not have a manager in the summer. Bournemouth might not have a manager in the summer if they don't go up. So I think there are a few.
No chance he's going to Bournemouth. There's absolutely no chance that Bruce is going to Bournemouth. I mean, Bournemouth wants an attacking manager that can manage the players that are there. I mean, I could see them sticking with Woodgate. I mean, they might get a new manager if they go up to the Premier League through the playoffs, but again, if they don't, I think it'll be Woodgate for next season.
I mean, that job is screaming Chris Wilder at me. I don't know why. Bournemouth is literally there. Nobody's if they don't go up and Woodgate fails, let's just say, Chris Wilder with that squad, with David Brooks, with Begovic in goal, having a solid defence and a very good attack. It just screams Chris Wilder. But
Another
honest, I
job.
can't.
Another job screams Chris Wilder to me.
I think Sheffield United was the perfect job.
But
Didn't
again,
work in time.
But again, if you look at it this way, West Brom come down. I don't see them sticking with Sam Allardyce.
Oh,
No.
I can see them sticking. I can see them. I can see Big Sam in the Championship again.
I can't see it.
I genuinely can because of the fact that because West Brom will they be able to attract Chris Wilder? No, I don't think so. Not really.
Why not?
Not with the owners at West Brom. I think Big Sam's. I think he's turned desperate, and I think any job that he can get his hands on, I think he'll take it just because he won't really get another job, which he could succeed in. So I think that West Brom really is the job for Big Sam. Just him getting them into the Prem, and like the job he did at West Ham, where he brought them from the Championship into the Premier League, stayed there for 4 years, and just maintained them into a stable Premier League club. So I could see Big Sam staying there. Why can't you see Big Sam staying at West Brom?
I personally think that he's brought him to save them, and again, I think that if they go down, then they'll be looking for somebody to revamp the squad and push up to near the top of the Championship. And I just think that there are better managers than Sam Allardyce to get you out of a division. I mean, Big Sam's a resort of who can we get in to drag us out of the bottom three, default to Sam Allardyce.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a decent job for Chris Wilder, but just see Big Sam having it and sticking onto it. So we'll move on from that, and we'll move on to that there, yeah, banner. But Nottingham Forest obviously recently played Bristol City. Let's just say it wasn't the best game I've ever witnessed in my life, but it was a 0-0 draw, and you know what? Let's just cut to the chase. It was absolutely dreadful, and if that's the football I'm going to see at Forest, get me those sleeping pills because I might just fall asleep. But but yeah, Luke, where do you see Nottingham Forest next year?
That is the big question. It all depends on if we can change the squad from a squad that has 30 plus players to a squad that has an average age of 25.
Yeah.
And again, we need a pacey striker. We ideally would like another winger because Amiobi is out of contract and for me is very, very inconsistent, and
he's not exactly young, is he, anymore?
And again, it says a lot, but Amiobi is better than Knockout. For me.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
And let's
Anthony Knockout. Anthony Knockout.
If we didn't have Garner and Kravinovic in our side, we would probably still be hovering around about 20th place.
I mean, very bold statement there, but I just feel like there's too much quality in that Forest squad to get relegated. I feel like that's a bit the case with Derby as well, who are currently playing Blackburn. It's 10 minutes of that game, still 0-0. But yeah, But yeah, I can seriously see Forest next year pushing for the playoffs, pushing for promotion even. Because I feel like Chris Hughton's there, and I feel like if he sticks around for the long term, I can see him really pressing down the hammer and going for it, and Forest being right up there. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Here's hoping.
What? Sorry.
Here's hoping.
Hopefully, with Bristol City in the top 6, who are absolutely dreadful at the moment. But I don't. We're not talking about that at the moment. We'll talk about my pain in about 5 minutes time. But yeah. Forest, I could see them getting playoffs next season under Hughes, and I genuinely feel like it's only because of Chris Hughton. But it's touch and go because there are going to be many teams in around that top 6, and some teams even nailed on for the top 6. And there's so much quality coming down from the Premier League these days, and the money as well. So yeah, it's going to be tough for the likes of Forest, Bristol City, Barnsley next season if they don't go up. Reading, teams like that who have had a good go this season but just failed in the end.
A side note, did you see the stats on Reading's accounts?
No.
Give me a second. You'll be amazed. I got sent this from my Sheffield Wednesday fan who's all over everything EFL at the moment, seeing as they got done. Reading's accounts have been published for the 2019-20 season. Total accumulated loss of 138 million. So they are spending 211% on wages than they're getting in revenue.
That's utter madness.
That's one way to describe it.
I think that's the reason many Reading fans have been writing to me saying that they need to get promoted this season. Because that I think that signals they need to get promoted.
Wait, hold on. I've just picked up on what you've just said. You have a lot of Reading fans messaging you. I didn't know there was a lot of Reading fans. Sorry,
that's naughty. That's very naughty.
It's one of Reading is one of those teams that I love to hate. Bit of a side story for you. They visited us 1 October, and it rained heavily. It rained the day before, and we all know that the Forest ground is next to a river.
Of course.
And our pitch was soaked and waterlogged. When the ref dropped the ball, it didn't come back up. It just landed. Yet the Reading fans thought it was a conspiracy against us not wanting to play them, and that we were scared of playing their side. And we decided that we wanted the game moving till it was convenient to us. And I still would just like to point out to the resident Reading fans that were saying this, that we are next to a river. Water tables do actually matter to us. If the water table is heavy and it rains, there is nowhere for the water to drain to because our drainage goes into the river. So if the river is already overflowing, where is it supposed to disappear to? That's why the game was called off. And also the changing of kickoff times to 8 o'clock, and just the pure fact they call their stadium the Mad Stad are all one of a few reasons why I dislike Reading. I could go on, but I won't bother.
Oh, good God. Never been to the Madejski. Never wanted to be. Purely because it's absolutely shocking. the Madejski, seriously. The away end is like a square. Literally, it's like a square. But one City fan came one of my mates, he went to the Majeski to see Bristol City win 1-0, and he was literally, I think he was like cramped in 2 people, literally cramped, and there wasn't even that many people in there. It was literally, it was a bit mad. But yeah, I don't really. Well done. But yeah. Can you see Reading now pushing for the playoffs now, even though they've gone on a pretty poor run of form? I don't know how this has gone to Reading. I seriously don't know how. But
do you want the unbiased opinion?
Yes, please.
Realistic. In fact, actually, there isn't a difference. Realistically, no.
Mm-hmm.
That is also the unbiased opinion and the biased opinion together. No, because I can see it being Swansea, Bournemouth, Barnsley, and come on, help me out here. Who's the other side?
Brentford and Swansea.
Brentford. That's it. That's the one I always forget. Brentford, Swansea, Barnsley, and Bournemouth.
Don't come after me, Brentford fans. It's his fault, not mine, for not remembering you. I love Brentford. I love every team except Cardiff, whatever.
You love every
yeah.
team bar Cardiff. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think most of the country would agree with you when they come up against a Mick McCarthy side. So I don't blame you on that one. Oh, and just a slight disclaimer here. Yes, I am in a very club hating mood today. So
Aren't you always?
That's Reading, Cardiff, and who was the other side? Brentford. Yeah. I'll just keep going, shall I? And we can just keep rolling all night.
Let me just write that down on a piece of paper quickly. Anyways, but yeah, I can't stand Mick McCarthy. I can't stand Neil Warnock. I can't stand Neil Harris. That's the last 3 Cardiff managers.
So currently, you're not a fan of Middlesbrough either, then?
Yeah, I'd say that. But I thank them for the 3 points they gave Nigel Pearson on his first game. Legendary.
Luckily, you don't have to find Neil Harris's team to hate because, remind me again. Oh yeah, he doesn't have one because he's not that good. And for anybody that needs reminding, the FA Cup game against Cardiff, there was actually a feature called Neil Harris Cam because BT Sport were that obsessed with Neil Harris that every 5 minutes they had to show his face, like anybody was actually interested. I'm sure he was on commission.
He's not even that handsome. but yeah, not as handsome as Neil Warnock, but yeah, I can't stand any of those managers. I can't stand Cardiff for apparently ruling the Southwest, even though they're not even in the Southwest of England. They are in Wales. So BT Sport and Sky Sports can go figure that one out because they're not even in the country. They shouldn't be allowed to play in the Championship of England because it's not in Wales.
I'm sorry, but for a minute then I thought you mentioned Rooney. I'm sorry, it's because the big broadcasters mention Rooney all the time. I mean, like he's been a manager before, and like he actually knows what he's doing. I mean, he can't be that great and that amazing because their side are sliding towards the bottom 3 of the Championship. I mean, I remember a time when it was just called Derby County or Chelsea, not Frank Lampard's Chelsea as it was, and Frank Lampard's Derby, and oh look, let's have a bit of a session over Wayne Rooney's Derby County. Oh my God, it's so exciting.
The reincarnation of Pep Guardiola's child, isn't he? I mean, just utter madness.
I mean, God knows what Derby are going to do when they actually finally have to decide to get rid of Wayne Rooney. And I'm sure they're going to have to go over huge rebranding and take down the extra letters on their badge and everything, because I don't think they'll exist after Rooney goes.
I couldn't stand my team being called Frank Lampard's Bristol City, Wayne Rooney's Robins. It's. Oh, and actually, speaking of Derby, sorry, Luke, they've gone 1-0 up at Blackburn.
Teams just aren't reading the script. I mean, Coventry yesterday, did they not realise that Rotherham had to win? And now Blackburn are doing it. Come on, people, read the script. Derby are supposed to go down to the bottom three and get a point deduction at the same time for selling their stadium to their owner. And God knows how that's okay. I mean, you know, it wasn't okay for Sheffield Wednesday to do it, but because Derby have an inside guy, that's totally fine.
No, it was because of the fact that Sheffield Wednesday sold it. That was fine. I think they added the profits into the wrong year, which was a real crime. But we'll
But
talk
let's
over
face it still shouldn't be okay. You still shouldn't have your owner owning your ground. It should be to the club. I mean, Forest can't do that because our ground is owned by the council.
It's not illegal, so I'm not gonna talk about that. But
well, it should be.
Well, I just realised it was Tom Lawrence who scored the goal. Now, you'd probably say it might be from the edge of the box or maybe even a free kick. You wouldn't realise Tom Lawrence scored a header.
I've heard it all now. I've heard it all now.
You can add that to Aston Villa 7, Liverpool 2. Manchester United 1, Sheffield United 2. And now Tom Lawrence scoring a header in the Championship. Quite remarkable. But anyways, team next up.
Christie actually being good at doing tricks against Bristol City. Sorry.
My eyes. Am I in a dream?
Wake up. This is a dream.
Knock, knock. But yeah. Oh, God. Oh, good Lord. Talk about Bristol City
next. You've really lost
next.
track now, haven't you?
Go away, Mum. But yeah. Oh, good Lord. Bristol City next. Do I really want to talk about it? No. Do I have to talk about it? Yes.
Do we really have to go there? I mean, could we not just keep bashing each club? I mean, that's fun.
Next up, Wycombe Wanderers. What do you think about Wycombe, Luke? But yeah, we are
3-0 says it all for Wycombe. One sec.
Yeah, but we are a supreme club. We are just incredible. We are on the brink of the playoffs. We just need that extra push, is what we've been saying for about 5 years now. So we'll just gloss over that. But yeah, do you think Bristol City are gonna get relegated this season?
No.
Very good answer. I like you, Luke. Do you think they'll finish in the top half?
No.
Okay, now bad answer, Luke. Bad answer. Very naughty boy you are. So
you'll finish in the places below the top half, so 13th.
No, because we're below Luton Town. Luton Town.
No, you jump Luton, but you'll finish 13th.
We're below Luton, not Luton City FC, Luton Town. Who has their second name of the club as Town. Ipswich Town are a decent club. Huddersfield Town, meh. I don't really mind Huddersfield. Luton Town. You don't deserve the second name Town. Town. Oh, good lord. Okay. Anyways, now we'll move over that very quickly. Bristol City.
By any chance?
I don't live in a town now, so. But yeah, Bristol City. They face Sheffield Wednesday tomorrow, and we're gonna lose, so we'll move over that. And after Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough, Bristol City face Wycombe. And knowing Bristol City, we'll probably S that up. So we're gonna move on. After that, we play channel favourites Luton Town. Again, I'm just going to call them Luton. So, no, Town, the town. Town, oh good God. But yeah, on a serious note, if Nigel Pearson does stay at Bristol City, Luke, can you see them challenging next season for the playoffs, or God forbid top 2?
Well, I'm going to rephrase exactly what you've just said. When
Luton
Nigel Pearson,
Town, Luton Town.
when Nigel Pearson stays at Bristol City,
Good answer.
then yes, I do see Bristol City finishing around about 6th.
Disgusting behaviour. Okay, now we move on because Luke didn't give me the answer I wanted to hear, which was winning the league and getting 108 points, which is what I want to hear, so I can be happy and I can enjoy our loss at Hillsborough. But anyways, I'm very sorry, Luke. I'm deeply disappointed in myself. So you can continue your talking.
Yeah, so they'll finish 6th, and it'll be very tight, and you'll just shove out us to 7th because we love our disappointing playoff kind of chasing seasons. I mean, cheers Stoke. I mean, well, all you had to do in your nothing game was let us win 1-0, or at least, I mean, turn up, play your kids, and get a 0-0 draw. I mean, it was the final day of the season. I mean, you didn't have to beat us 4-1. I mean, Nuno da Costa, if you're watching this stream, cheers for the own goal. I mean, it was great. I enjoy watching you on iFollow every week, head it into the back of the net, and then lie on the floor. I mean, it's great. I mean, that just epitomises Forest still together in the past 20 years. I mean, thank you, Stoke. But we're not talking about Forest at Stoke. We're talking about Bristol City in 6th, just edging out us into 7th by 0.5 goal difference, if that's even possible.
Probably is as well.
And more than likely, the goal that separates us will probably be a Tobias Figueiredo own goal by his butt.
Oh, good God. But we'll keep going for another 10 minutes, Luke, and then we'll wrap it up. But yeah, we've talked about Bristol City, we've talked about Nottingham Forest, we've talked about Newcastle, and I can't seem to find Kev anywhere, so we're just going to have to continue without him for the last 10 minutes. But yeah, as of right now, and because Derby are winning at Blackburn, as of right now, Huddersfield are 21st and 5 points outside the relegation zone. And
with a defeat incoming.
Sorry?
With a defeat incoming.
But they're 5 points ahead of Rotherham United. Now you see, Rotherham is fine. United, Manchester United, Newcastle United, not Rotherham United. Even Carlisle United is acceptable, not Rotherham United. And this is not because of the fact that you beat us 2-0 away from home and at home. It's because of the fact that I genuinely don't like Rotherham, but I don't care. But it's locked down, isn't it? It's just what's done to me.
By the way, is there any sides, bar Forest and Bristol City, respectively, that we'd actually like? I mean, I've bashed Reading, Brentford,
Luton.
You've done Luton.
Reading, Brentford, and Derby.
Derby.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
One second.
Yeah, go ahead. But yes, obviously, I was just talking about Huddersfield there, being 5 points ahead of Rotherham, in 5th, in 21st at the moment.
Were you going to ask about our game at the weekend?
Yes, I was leading to that. Thank you very much, Luke, for interrupting me and being a very awful, awful, awful guest. So you're uninvited from my channel for forever and ever and ever. But yeah. You've ruined my moment. I'm talking, and you've ruined it again. How many times must I tell you not to interrupt me when I'm talking? Jesus Christ. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Bit like Bristol City, then.
I'm getting slandered on my own channel. I'm getting slandered on my own channel. This is... I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
It's all right. You're above us in the table at the moment.
I'm just so disappointed in you, Luke. I just didn't think you'd be that kind of person, interrupting people in front of while they're talking. It's just unbelievable. But yeah, as I was talking, Huddersfield Town. Don't interrupt me. But Huddersfield Town. Do you think they're going to stay up?
No.
No. Interesting.
Because
So
Rotherham United will win their 2 games in hand, and somebody's got to fulfill my prophecy of Rotherham getting out and somebody going down in their place.
Fair enough.
As soon as Derby County don't want to fulfill that prophecy, then
if you're gonna put county after your first name in a club badge, put the whole name in. So shouldn't it be Derbyshire County instead of just Derby County? Were your parents hippie? Jesus Christ. Unbelievable, Derby. Unbelievable. But yeah, I personally feel like Huddersfield will stay up, which will mean Rotherham Wednesday and Wickham will go down. So yeah, you think Huddersfield will go down? I feel like Huddersfield will stay up. I feel like the bottom three are going to stay at it, stay same and not going to change. But yeah, as I was going to talk about, but you've clearly ruined it now, Luke. Nottingham Forest at the City Ground against Huddersfield. Obviously, the reverse fixture was the second last game for Sabri Lamucci, as he was fired right after Bristol City beat Nottingham Forest at the City Ground. But yeah, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about how Nottingham Forest will get on at against Huddersfield and Carlos Corberon. What are your score predictions, and how do you think the game will pan out?
I think it'll be 3-0. I think that James Garner will score another Chris Cohen-esque free kick, like he did a la QPR. I think that Lewis Graben will probably hit one from about 2 yards out, which eventually the one will go in. I mean, he's missed some right sitters this year and should not even be wearing the captaincy armband. I mean, what does Joe Worrell have to do to become the captain, apart from walk up to Chris Hughton and just say, give me the captaincy? And I think that Scott McKenna might score from the corner.
Very
What's
specific.
none of that happen, though?
And now Fraser Campbell score a hat-trick at the City Ground. But yeah, I feel like Forest will get the job done. And yeah, I think it'll be a comfortable Nottingham Forest win. I'm gonna say Nottingham Forest 2, Huddersfield 0. I feel like you're gonna do the job, but it's not the most convincing of fashions. But next up, last segment of the show before we wrap it up. We've just gone under an hour. Bristol City as they take on Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough. It's not going to be an easy match, but it's certainly not the most the toughest match we could possibly get. So yeah, how do you see Sheffield Wednesday versus Bristol City Hillsborough going, Luke?
Well, I want to start off this little speech by wishing Darren Moore well, because he's caught another form of pneumonia to do with COVID. So get well soon,
Yes.
Darren Moore. But to do the actual game itself, the assistant has played 2 games in charge. Won one against Cardiff, 5-0. Lost the other against QPR, 4-1. So, I mean,
Not really a big sample size to go on there.
So he's kind of had one heavy defeat, one heavy win. So it's either going to be one of these 3 scores, in my opinion. You're either going to get battered 4-0.
Nice to see.
You're either going to go into Sheffield Wednesday and win 3-0.
Take that.
Or, just because it's so going to be so predictable and totally unrealistic, it could also be 0-0.
That is very much possible. I think Nigel Pearson will have a bit too much respect just because of the fact that he played for Sheffield Wednesday. But why is your eyes twitching? I don't know, but
I was just thinking about Nigel Pearson giving Sheffield Wednesday a bit too much respect.
Actually, that sounds pretty bad. But I personally feel like we'll probably draw. Probably be a Barry Bannon last minute penalties to win it for them, or something
Just a
like
question: Do you think that the remainder of your fixtures will be draws?
No, because we don't draw games at all. I think we've had about 4 draws all season, which is just utterly unbelievable. But it's just what it is. And before Nigel Pearson came, I think it was 2 draws under Dean Holden all season. So we just didn't draw. It was completely like Neil Warnock, but it's just Neil Warnock at too many losses.
Can I tell you what's unbelievable?
What?
The fact that Henry Lansbury is playing for Bristol City. That's unbelievable.
And I think our fan base agrees as well. Because he's just on 2 high wages for a championship club and doing so little as well. Just utterly unbelievable. I personally feel like we'll draw at Sheffield Wednesday. Don't know if you agree, but yeah, I'll say we will draw one apiece. And and we shall never talk about that game ever again because it will not stick long in the memory. But now that I've said that, I probably will. But yeah, what is your score prediction? Because you actually didn't say your score predictions.
Well, I get 3. Did you want me to narrow it down to 1?
Yes, now and Blackburn have scored.
Hooray! They may just have read the script just yet. Who scored, by the way?
I have no idea. I'll tell you as soon as I receive news.
Okay. I'll go with a 2-1 Sheffield Wednesday win. Sorry, but it's just so Bristol City for it to happen.
Yes, that is very true. And the goal scorer was Sam Gallagher for Blackburn Rovers.
He's my new best friend.
But yes, I feel like we'll probably lose. Like last season, last minute Barry Bannon penalty. But that's where I will wrap this show up. Obviously,
Can we wrap it up by just getting you doing the Luton Town thing again? Because that was hilarious.
you see, Luton is fine, but Luton Town is just it's just not fine. You've got Ipswich Town, which is fine because it's a town. Luton is not a town. It's a postcode technically.
Luton postcode.
It's I don't know what I'm waffling on about here, but I've tried
On that bombshell.
but yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have tuned in, so yeah, I'll end the stream right here. Huge thank you to Luke and to Kev, who also joined. Both social media links to me and the YouTube links to Luke and Kev are in the description down below. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and also make sure to follow their Twitter accounts, Luke and Kev as well, down the description down below. And until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Peace out.